When in this story do you first kind of have a tarot reading?
With my mom, but we would get it from Vietnamese people. And
Your mom was a reader?
no,
Feel for you.
in fact, she doesn't know I'm a reader. She'd be very upset with me.
Really?
Yeah, she doesn't know I do this for a living.
She doesn't have internet?
No, I mean, she doesn't know how to use it, so it's fine. Yeah.
Don't
So
tell me.
no, don't. But I do have the other practice, Good Thoughts NLP. So
Well,
she's very.
what would she think if so what's there? There's something there with mom and tarot.
She doesn't want me to mess with that world, even though, like,
She thinks it's the devil's work?
she might not necessarily because she's a Buddhist, but she just doesn't want me to tap into that, like bring any bad spirits or anything like that.
You wouldn't do that, would you?
I mean, I think in her world that it would be not my choice.
The demons the bad spirits would come along
Yeah.
with because in Buddhism, the Four Noble Paths,
Mm-hmm.
the Four Noble Truths, the fourth one is the Eightfold Path,
Mm-hmm.
and part of that is right work.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where she sees it being challenging?
I mean,
Right profession, right?
right. Yeah. And so, but I feel like the work that I do is right work because I feel like it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Right. I
I agree.
I think that she's worried about bad spirits, like for my protection.
I don't understand. Which is she Theravada Buddhism?
She would not know what to call that. No, but like, I think that just like, think of Catholicism, right? Catholicism is Christianity, right?
Right.
Even though Catholics Catholics feel like Christian is a separate religion. They really do. And I understand why, right? Because you have a lot of like folklore kind of tied into this Christianity, right? So I think that has thing to do with like her belief system in Buddhism. Like in Vietnam, ancestor work is very, very powerful, right? And so spirit work is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
So kind of blending those two folklore, cultural stuff, it's a blend of all of her belief systems.
Yeah. And so where did you get that first reading? It was through the Vietnamese angle.
Yeah.
Who was it? The people that came over?
My very, very first reading was by a Buddhist monk.
Really?
In Houston named oh my God. Why can't I remember his name? Because he's Cochin. Buddhist monk Cochin. And he has a temple. He still exists out there. And if you go, you have to get there early, like around 4 a.m. The line starts. He sees people for free. He'll see up to 80 people a day.
Really?
Yeah. And by the 80th person, he's done, and he does it very, very fast. And
very fast?
Yeah. He just spews, like he just says. Like
he pulls cards and then.
Yeah, but it's like he may pull cards, he may not. It's just up to him.
Whoa! Do you remember your first reading?
Yeah, he said it was so fast and so good, but basically he said that basically he said I was gonna have a great life, and so not to worry. But
so Buddhist.
Yeah.
What if he's just doing that 80 times?
Right, probably. But
you're gonna have a beautiful life, and you shouldn't worry.
He said, he did say that my husband. I asked him, "Is my husband going to be a firefighter?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, well, we're going to get married next year." He's like, "No, this year. You're going to get married this year." And oh no, I think that was my mom's question. But anyway, he was right. My mom said that. My mom asked him, "Is my daughter going to get married?" And he said, "Yes, she's going to get married this year." And my mom said, "No, next year." He's like, "No," and he yelled at her, "This year." And then, it turns out that I got not so stressed out. I'm just like, oh my God, throwing a wedding is hard. I don't want to do that. Let's just elope. And so we got married 2 months later.
This year.
He was right. Yeah. And recently I saw him because my mom had an illness, and it was just such a strange experience. But because I'm Vietnamese, I could go on Tuesday, and it says line shorter. And but then they saw that I didn't speak Vietnamese, and they're like, "Oh, you're not really Vietnamese," So you have to come back tomorrow and wait in line. I'm like, "Oh my god."
You're trying to play that Vietnamese
Well,
card.
no, they asked me if I was Vietnamese. I said yes, and so okay, you can come on Tuesday. And so I showed up on Tuesday, and they said, "Oh, you're not really Vietnamese," but I'm like, "Oh my god, I am."
I am
Why-
Vietnamese.
Why is everyone trying to tell me what I am? And but luckily they said, okay, he said, wait here and he will talk to your mom on the phone. And he drives up in his car and he tells my mom, he tells her all the things that are wrong with her. He says, like he's like to the T. And and he tells her like to do like light through a candle all the way down and you're gonna have a long life. How he knew like what was going on with her. He's like, you have intestinal problems or something wrong with your stomach. You have a hard time like sleeping at night because of your stomach. And he's like, but it has more to do with your heart. It's not your stomach. Well, he was right. It
No
wasn't.
way.
Yeah. She had a butt stent in her heart. And he's like, you're going to live to 83. And she's like, oh my God, that's too long. He's like, yeah, but you're going to live to 83.
Why does she think that the cards bring evil spirits if she's going and getting these readings from the Buddhist?
I don't know.
The Mimi works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. Don't question Mimi. Yeah.
Don't question Mimi.
Don't question Mimi.
Except for the Buddhist guy could. This year.
And he was right. He was right. So yeah. I mean, he's no joke. He's good though. His whole thing is like your ego is not your amigo.
Where do I see him? If I want to see him,
it's in Houston. If you look up Coachin, Caochin, get there early. Bring some water. Bring a chair. Stand in line.
when does he start seeing people?
8 in the morning.
But if you want to be there,
You got to get there about 4 or 5 hours early.
what?
The line is long.
He's
Yeah.
popular.
Yep. Master Coach. Most of his clients are Hispanic. Yeah.
So, did you still identify with the Hispanic culture?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
You still do now?
Yeah.
Is your husband Hispanic?
No, he's a white guy, but most of my friends are Hispanic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how can you not be how in Texas not have some blending of that culture into your life? You know what I mean?
Glad I see.
Yeah, it's we're on their land.
I mean, well, there's the
They were trying to block white immigrants from coming, right? With the Texas the Mexican-American War.
yeah.
They're like, there's too many of them coming into, Tejas, which was Mexico, right?
Yeah.
There's too many of them. They're not becoming Catholic. They're bringing in their slaves. We're not down with that. Like, we're going to limit white settlers. And that's when
Well, you go a little bit. I mean, I'm not. You go a little bit earlier than that. You had a lot of First Nation folks that
right,
were,
of course,
that were here before the Spanish and the Spanish Mayan kind of mezcla would come over and just said, "Oh, this is ours."
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there's a whole, before Europeaners were fighting over it, there was a whole nother group that was here.
Yeah.
That you see there when you go to McKinney Falls,
Mm-hmm.
there's areas where those people were setting up camps.
Mm-hmm.
Before this place was all underwater before that.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's why you see like fossils, some of the rocks,
Mm-hmm.
Enchanted Rock, or if you go to
even if you go to Onion Creek where the dogs, like the dog park there.
You can see, fossils. All this stuff was underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.